young, and yeah, obviously you're young. We're all young, but you have so many years in this industry. Is crazy because you started from such an early age, right?
Yeah, I think so. I always had a passion for animals, right? I think kids, you can see this very early on, but at some point it takes form in passion for certain type of animal or working with animals in a certain way. So I think I was about 8 or 9 years old when I got my first reptile. Started from there, and I think when I was vending at my first reptile shows, I was maybe 12, 13, 14 years old. So like those first few years, my parents had to drive me and my animals and all my inventory to those shows and back because I didn't have a driver's license, obviously. So yeah, that's how it all started. And yeah, I was young then, so I'm probably one of like the younger old timers that you will find in the hobby. But yeah, I'm 33 now, so I've been keeping and breeding reptiles for like over 2/3 of my life.
Yeah, that's insane. That's incredible. So, are I meant to ask actually, are you doing this full time now, or do you have another day job?
No, so I have a day job as well. So I've always been doing this on the side, just as a hobby. The only thing is that so now it's also a side business. At some point, you have to choose, right? If you hit certain numbers, and especially if you're also selling abroad, and you have quite some hatchlings, you either stop at sort of like a hobby size collection of animals, or yeah, you decide to just make it like a side business. So I still have a day job, um, and I do this on the sides, evenings, weekends, and yeah.
Nice. Excellence is my thing, what I'm into the most. But you're also breeding leopard geckos.
Yeah.
Um, and I thought, you know what, let me ask a lot of questions about these leopard geckos because obviously I know what they are and basic stuff, but when you're not into something, your knowledge doesn't go so far.
Yeah.
Um,
Sure.
so
Far away.
it's they're obviously getting more and more popular as it goes, as time goes, I think. And obviously, what's your take on that? What's the leopard gecko market?
Oh, sorry, it stuck for a few seconds.
Okay, so, yeah, I
You
figured
repeat
that.
the question?
What? Yeah, no. What is the leopard gecko market like nowadays compared to a few years ago?
So I think when I started, so then I'm talking like 20 years ago, maybe a bit more. When I was like buying my first leopard geckos, you had a couple really big leopard geckos, and then leopard gecko breeders. I mean, and then of course like a bunch of smaller breeders, etc. And you really had this kind of like I would say split. So the cheaper leopard geckos and the ones that were more simple genetically speaking, those were really sold as pets. People bought just one or two or as a pet, and anything that had like a couple of genes or was a bit more expensive, that was really sold between breeders. I think nowadays, especially from that era, there's not that many leopard gecko breeders left that were breeding then. So the ones that you're seeing now, a lot of them are new, still some old timers around, but not many of them. And now you basically see that I think actually most of the leopard geckos that I sell are sold as pets rather than to other breeders. And you can see that compared to then, people wanted a simple leopard gecko to keep as a pet. They also didn't want to spend too much money on the leopard gecko itself. No complex genetics, and I think that has shifted. People are willing to spend a lot more money, not only on the gecko itself, but also on the husbandry and the enclosure, etc. And basically now it's like a leveled playing field. If you breed a gecko, doesn't really matter what genetics, etc. it is. Chances of you selling it as a pet are maybe even higher than selling it to a fellow breeder.
Another breeder. Okay, very good. So Is it more about when you're breeding the geckos, obviously,
Mhm.
is it more about the cleanliness of the morph, or is it the intensity of the color? Like, what are you looking for when you're selecting your holdbacks and stuff like that?
Um, so I think the main difference between leopard geckos and ball pythons, for example, is that in ball pythons there's an enormous amount of recessive and incomplete dominant and dominant genes to work with, and basically you make whatever combination of those genes to create the morph that you hatch. With leopard geckos, don't shoot me for this. I don't know the exact number, but say there is around 10 genes that are recessive, either recessive or incomplete dominant, and that's it. So all the other things you see are either polygenetic or line bred. So then usually, for example, you if you're starting to breed orange geckos, you pair the two most orange ones. You look at the holdbacks. You look at the most orange one. Keep that. But what I always did was I would also look at like the build, the length, and the growth rate of the gecko, and try to take that into like my decision making as well. And if I have to choose to get a little less color but better build, better size, growth rate, etc., then I would usually do that because these are things that you take along in the breeding, and that also are more important for like the health of the gecko. Color is something that you can make up for along the way over all those generations.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really a different game, a different strategy in breeding.
Yeah, it's completely different.
Yeah.
Um, what's the number one project that you're in, regarding geckos?
Um,
Or are you sort of in a bit of everything?
Yeah, so I think what I try to breed into everything is morph that's supergiant, which is also different from ball pythons. So this is a morph that actually just increases the size. These say that an average leopard gecko will get anywhere between, let's take a wide range, say anywhere between 50 and 90 grams, and then 90 is on the very high end. Then you have giants and supergiants, supergiant being the super form. I think the biggest males that I bred from those as adults, they are upwards of like 150 to 200 grams. So basically 2 to 3 times the size.
Yeah.
And that is something that connects with a lot of people. So these supergiants, they've been around, or well, they started in 2004. They've been around for a while, but somehow there are not that many people that breed, yeah, let's say true supergiants, so the ones that actually get to these adult sizes. And now you see that, for example, people will I don't know, say a tangerine leopard gecko, complete orange leopard gecko, but they want it in supergiant size because it's 2 or 3 times as big. So I would say that that's something that I try to mix into more of the morphs. It's mostly so far been linked to one of the albino genes in leopard geckos, um, and as with ball pythons, the albino genes in leopard geckos, there are three. Those are non-compatible, so it really takes some time to breed the supergiant out of that albino line,
Okay.
being able to cross it into others. I think maybe that's also why a lot of people, yeah, sort of left that project alone because it was not, it takes generations, right? But once you're there, then you can use it in other morphs, and yeah, that's. I would say it's one of the most popular things, and it's also one that because it only influences size, you can plug it into anything.
Yeah. And how long does it take for when a gecko hatches to till it's like adult sized?
It depends a bit. So for them to be fully grown in like the maximum weight and size that they can get to, I would say anywhere between 1.5 and 3 years. But if you're talking about like sexual maturity, you have I think females usually start ovulating. With leopard geckos, you can actually see ovulation, and it comes before fertilization. It's a bit of a different process, but that starts, yeah, with females as young as 6 months, as old as 18 months, anywhere between there. And I think most males are also 6 months are, I mean, then that's very, very early. Those are like the exceptions, but I think most males say around a year, maybe 1.5. Then those will be sexually mature as well. It's just that they, yeah, like the last part of growing and adding weight, that comes in the first few years after, I would say.
And then with this, the giant, this or super giant morph that you mentioned,
Mhm.
do you see straight away like when they hatch? Like, are the eggs even the eggs are bigger? Is everything like that or?
Yeah, but the thing is that if you will see a difference. I mean, the eggs are indeed bigger, the hatchlings are bigger, and then I've had supergiant hatchlings that will grow within, say, within 3 months. They're at the size of a normal adult gecko. So you can definitely see that, but still, you have to wait until, say, about a year old, or between 6 to 12 months. Then you can for sure say, like, this is one. You can know genetically, but you also want like the visual verification. So if you know what to look for, then it's usually quite obvious. They grow really, really fast.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. Because I have seen those the leopard geckos. It's one of those things that's it's on the back of my to do list. So I've been
Mhm.
just meaning to get one, but it just keeps getting pushed back. But I did see some of those like super giants, I guess, and I was like, I always thought, if I get a Lego or if I get a gecko or when I get a gecko, it has to be one of those.
Yeah,
They just look so much cooler, right? Because they're so much bigger. It
yeah,
looks so much more interesting. But does so if say for example, right, you mix it like you make a super giant tangerine, for example, does it affect the color, or is it just like same color and everything, just bigger animal?
yeah. I would say it doesn't influence like intensity or coloration or anything like that.
Okay.
It's really just the size. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, okay. I think I like the. Is it a Dark Knight? Is that a morph?
The black ones, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's you have
That
different
is cool.
you have different forms, but I think the most known one is the Black Knight. Yeah.
Black Knight. Okay. Yeah, I like those. I think those are cool. But I see that's me. I like those. I like the all like white ones, but I also like the really really orange ones.
Yeah.
I like everything. I
But
think
I
it's
think that's it's the thing, right? I mean, with it's
you want
basically
them
the
all.
same as, yeah, as with ball pythons. The difference is in how you breed them. It's not stacking recessive, dominant, and incomplete dominant. It's more like combining line bred traits, etc., putting some of those recessives, etc., in. But the possibilities on basically the canvas that is the leopard gecko, it's endless, right? So there is something that anyone likes, like color and pattern wise. Same as with ball
Yeah.
pythons, I would say.
And then I heard, I think it was about leopard geckos. I heard about this recently. It like blew my mind. So when the females start laying, they lay like one or two eggs every couple of weeks. Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, I was like, what? Wait a
Yeah,
second, that makes no sense. They're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. So for like a period of, I don't know, is it months or? You're
yeah,
the best person to talk about that, probably.
yeah. I think so. That's I think the fastest consecutive clutches that I've had from females were within 9 days. So it's really, really fast. I think the longest is like 6 to 8 weeks. I would say on average is 2 to 3 weeks between clutches, and they do that, yeah, probably 5 to 10 times. I would say, and then after that, you just yeah, they will stop laying eggs. Season is done, and that's it.
That's incredible. But so
Yeah,
it's always like just one or two eggs, right? They don't
yeah,
usually they don't go more than that.
yeah. No, they have they only produce, yeah, one, but maximum of 2 eggs per time. And those you will actually see them form in the belly. The belly is like sort of, yeah, I think semi-translucent is an exaggeration, but you can, if there are
Yeah,
eggs in there, you can
you
see
see
them.
it.
Yeah, and it's one or two per time, and then every couple of weeks. So it spreads it out a bit more than breeding any kind of reptile that gives you like one clutch and that's it for the season.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then do you incubate the eggs or
Yeah,
turn them
yeah.
into
So
fish?
Yeah, and so with leopard geckos, it's also one of the few species where the sex determination is actually temperature linked. So you can by incubating them at a certain temperature, you can actually yeah, make males or females.
Wow. And can you do this like consistently?
Yeah. So if I, for example, if I have a project, usually I just do half on half. I would put one clutch in a male incubator, one in a female incubator. But for example, if there is a certain morph that I know that there is a lot of demand for males, I just put everything in a male incubator, for example. And then, yeah, it depends a bit on how far you're willing to drop or raise the temperature,
Yeah.
on how what the percentage is that you'll actually get males or females. But I would say that temperatures I'm using, I try to stay a bit from like, yeah, sort of the edge where you could get incubation issues, to stay away from that. I would say that around 80 to 90% of the clutches hatch, being the sex of which I put them in the incubator of that temperature. Yeah.
Here you go. Incredible. Imagine if we could do that with ball pythons, huh?
Yeah, that would be great. Because also, indeed, for example, if I do a specific pairing with the specific reason of creating holdbacks, if I know that I need a male, then I will just put the clutches to male to at least. Um, yeah, so let's put it like this: you have the odds of the genetics, right? But the odds of whether it's male or female is also a 1 in 2 chance every time. With leopard geckos, you can diminish those odds to almost like 100%. So especially for holdbacks, yeah, that's a lot easier. If I need a male or a lot of females, then I just put them in that incubator.
Yeah, that's awesome. Wow. Okay, so I've completely gone off track because yeah, because this topic is obviously new to me. Um, so obviously you have. Do you have? I'm guessing you have one facility where you keep both ball pythons and geckos,
Yeah.
or do you keep? Okay, so what's the biggest logistical hurdle in a facility that has both species?
It's yeah. So I think that the nice thing of combining those two is that oh yeah, of course they're completely different species, but also with completely different demands. So like the egg laying is different, food is different, temperatures not that much. They're quite the same. So the like the ambient room temperature, it's the same for both. So that works out great. But it yeah, no, I think in that sense, it's actually with those two, it's quite easy because they're so different that you can yeah, it's different materials, different feeding, watering, etc. Um, but yeah, you do everything yeah, twice. I mean, in that sense that so during the season, leopard geckos they keep hatching. I think that especially during the busy weeks, not a day goes by without a clutch hatching. And then in the meantime, you have the ball python clutches being laid and hatching. And yeah, you sort of have to combine that, of course. But I would say that I think two managing like two different species at yeah, at a level where you really have a close eye on health, but also genetics, long-term strategy for multiple generations. I would definitely max that at 2. I mean, unless you're doing this full time and you can spend all your time on that. But yeah, I would say 2 is doable. But other than that, I would say it's difficult to do it properly.
Yeah, like, yeah, last week I had Chris from Herpetoculture here on the
Mhm.
show, and he's got like 16 different species of
Yeah,
pythons and boas, and he's still got colubrids from when he was breeding colubrids. But I was like, that's insane. But anyway, cool. So how many yeah, how many geckos and ball pythons have you got right now,
um,
roughly?
I, yeah. I think for the leopard geckos that will be let's see. I think for the leopard geckos, anywhere between 50 and 100 breeders. And then, yeah, hatchlings vary. But I think that's roughly 150 to 200 clutches a year that I hatch. So say times one and a half, because sometimes it's one egg, sometimes it's two.
Yeah.
Um, and for yeah, for ball pythons, if I combine subadults and adults, so the ones that I'm breeding or that are like close to breeding weight, it's let me count, close to 90 animals. And then, yeah, I think for the ball pythons, I average on between 20 and 30 clutches a year, something like that.
Yeah. Okay. Nice, man. With the geckos, then when they hatch, is it similar to ball pythons, where do you like separate them straight away? Do you keep them together? What's it like with feeding?
Yeah, so I raised them mostly on mealworms. You gut load those properly, so it means you feed them with like all kinds of vegetables, fruits, pellet food, etc., so that they're properly loaded. Um, and you put them in a small bowl. It has to be quite low, so that's because these geckos, they're yeah, it's like the length of maybe a finger long that they are, and
Oh
very
yeah,
small, it's a
maybe.
couple of
Yeah,
grams. So they need to be able to reach over. So I always keep them per clutch. So this can be one or two geckos, never more. And at about, it depends a bit on their size, but at about say 8 weeks or something, then I usually separate them. They each have their individual enclosure. Um, yeah, and unless I see that there is a like really a difference in growth. For example, if I can see that one is already growing bigger than the other in those first 8 weeks, then I just separate immediately to give like the smaller ones at least the full chance of getting the food and all of that to take away any factor of competition.
yeah, yeah, because you can get that.
Yeah, so that's yeah,
Interesting.
one or two.
And yeah, well, actually, what size of tub do you keep them in when they hatch? Like,
Yeah, when they hatch, it's difficult, but I usually just put them in. Yeah, I think it's like Vision 18 or LP 19. Those rack
okay,
size tops.
yeah,
Yeah, if you see a small little gecko in there, you think like this is really big, but they find their way because
yeah.
part of
There's
it
no, yeah, I
is
was
heated.
gonna say there's no such thing as big, too big of a space for them, is there?
No, yeah, I mean, if you would put like a 3 gram gecko in a living room, then it might have,
Right.
and then put one one little bowl of food somewhere, it might have trouble finding its food because the area is too big. No, but like tub size or terrarium wise, as long as I mean temperatures are right, they have shelter, they have like a proper humid height, they have food, and it's fine. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Very good. Um, Let's see. What's the most expensive lesson that you've had to learn since you started breathing?
Since I started breeding, it's a good thing. So I am quite like a cautious person. So I really, I mean, I grew the collection and also the animals I have organically. Um, Tried to never take like huge financial risks if I didn't have to. I rather did it like the organical way and then take 5 years longer or something. I mean, I have time, right? It doesn't have to be next year or so. In that sense, also that sort of minimized like the expensive mistakes that I made.
Yeah,
So I'm trying to think. It's a
breeding
diff-
your own mealworms.
yeah, yeah. I think no, in sense of like expensive lessons. It's difficult to think of one. I never had like a very like a decision that I didn't think through and that blew up in my face or something.
So
Usually, all the things that I did. Yeah, I mean,
again, you're always rational with your decisions. So
yeah, exactly, and it takes a bit longer, but it also it removes this huge risk because it's also, I mean, at the end of the day, these are live animals, right? So things that you risk, especially health wise, etc. You're not only risking that one animal, but you're risking every animal in the building basically. So also all of my like quarantine and testing procedures for new animals coming in, they're quite strict. And yeah, they cost money every time. But yeah, for example, even if I get snakes from friends that I've known for 10, 20 years, and I know that their collection is completely healthy, and you know I've been there, I've seen it. Even then, I just test the snakes because I know that none of them would ever knowingly sell me any animal that's not 100% healthy. But the thing that you're trying to mitigate is the part that is not knowingly, right? So even those animals, for example, with ball pythons, anything before it comes into the facility is put in quarantine and tested for the nidovirus, even if it's from people that I've known for decades. Because if something turns out to be wrong, then I rather have it in quarantine. Then I also don't have to, get like bad blood between any of the old friends. Then it's still only that animal at risk. If you just put it in your facility, so for me it doesn't matter where an animal comes from. I test it every time. It costs money, that's true, but I rather be safe than sorry in that sense because it's just, I mean, if you test 100 animals coming in, for example, and number 101 you don't test, then all the previous 100 tests they were for nothing, right?
Yeah,
So you
exactly.
have to you have to keep doing that quite strictly.
Uh, yep, do it right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, here, I think, well, I was gonna ask before we take a little sponsor break. What's your favorite species to breed then? Because you've been through bearded dragons, the pythons, and the geckos. What's the best thing?
Yeah, that's difficult. That it has to be. Yeah, I think it's an exact tie between leopard geckos and ball pythons. I mean, those for sure compared to like chameleons, birded dragons, etc. And I think mostly because why it's a tie and why it's hard to decide between those two. With ball pythons, you know what you're shooting for, right? I mean, if you breed I don't know, a Mojave to a Mojave, you know that the best thing you can get is a super Mojave and the other things that you can get. So basically, you know what you're looking for, you know what it looks like. And with leopard geckos, because so much of like the color and pattern is either polygenetic or line bred trait, um, that's always a surprise. And also with the leopard geckos, if you hatch them, then that's the baby pattern. It will change over the course for at least 6 months and maybe up until a year. So before you actually know what you got, it takes a bit longer than with a ball python. Um, so it's different kinds of like excitement in breeding, I would say. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, interesting. Um, Let me see. Oh, yes, this would be a good one. Since you obviously keep multiple species in your facility, what's one piece?
Sorry, mate, it was stuck again. Screen.
Oh, damn it. What's one piece of equipment that every serious facility needs to have?
Ooh. Um, I think um, I would say this. Yeah, I would say a fire extinguisher and like a
Oh,
smoke alarm. I would say that
yeah, wow.
because I mean I've I've luckily never experienced it, but I've seen those stories. I mean, especially over in the States, but there was one in the Netherlands as well, where a complete facility just burned down
Yeah,
with all the animals in it. And I mean, you read this in the newspaper more often if it's about like farm animals that they keep in big stables, etc., that there is a fire, etc. But you have the same risk, of course, with those animals in a facility. So I would say that, yeah, that's definitely. I mean, it sounds sort of far fetched, right? But I would say it's one of the most basic things you want to know if there is something there. And I think if I then go one step more specific, the next thing for me would be thermostats on that are connected to Wi-Fi. So I mean, unless you're home all the time, which I'm not, then you want to know what's going on. And wherever I am, I can just check my phone, and for every thermostat, I can see the temperatures. I can check the logs of what's been happening, and if a temperature drops or raises above or below a certain value, an alarm will go off that sounds like a fire alarm. So I mean, these are the most basic safety measures that I would definitely advise in any facility keeping live animals, but yeah, also reptiles.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's it's just like you said. It's crazy that it's something that people don't even think about. Well, at
Yeah.
least it's never really come across my mind, and it's not really commonly spoken about. But
No,
yeah, and
I
also
mean,
definitely something I don't have.
yeah, yeah, but this is one of the things, right? Where I mean, the chances of it happening are very slim. I mean, how often does like a house or facility burn down? But the consequences are so big that this is something that you want to, yeah, you want to assure yourself of.
Um, am I back?
Yes, you're
Am I
back.
back? Damn. Um, sorry. I don't know. I mean, the internet today is definitely going crazy. So anyway, we'll just move on. What? How do you pick? Let's start going into ball pythons.
Yes.
How do you decide? Obviously, in your situation, how do you decide what ball python gene is worth um, taking up the rack space, or which ones is just like
Yeah. So that's difficult. So I would have to say that I mean the genetic shed testing helped tremendously with this, right? Because especially breeding multi-recessive animals. I mean, talking triple, quad, or even higher. That's almost impossible without shed testing because you have to either you have to hit those odds and hatch that like that quadruple homozygous animal, or you're keeping back a bunch of like double visuals, possible double head, etc. And this takes a lot of rack space, a lot of animals that you have to keep back that may or may not have the genetics you're looking for. Now you can just very easily pinpoint the animals that you want to keep, that you want to sell. It prevents a lot of like test breeding. You can just, I mean, a genetic test is easier than test breeding. So how I decide, I really treat it as a hobby. So I might pick certain projects that take me 5 to 10 years and that turn out to be absolutely brilliant. I might also pick a project that I spend a lot of time on, that I really wanted to breed. I hatched the snake. I look at it and I was like, well, maybe this was not worth like the time and effort.
time? Yeah.
Um, yeah, just I mean to give you the example, I think it was 2018 or something when I had the idea of breeding a super Enchi vanilla screen clown. That was my goal. So you're working with fire and vanilla. It's allelic, so it's already a bit different. There's a recessive in there and an incomplete dominant that you want in super form. So I knew it was going to take quite some time. Start breeding those. Last season I hatched it. It's a yellow snake with just a couple blotches on the body. Um, yeah, it's a snake that I mean visually that was not really worth it. Financially it wasn't for sure, but it was just a goal that I set. I wanted to breed it, and I went for it. And I mean, other genes pack they turn out much better and sometimes also more quick than you expect. But yeah, I really do it on a matter of personal taste. I never look at which genes are like popular or are a high value or something like that. I do try to stay away from things that I can buy on every corner, for example. I mean, if you can, I can try and breed, I don't know, a fire clown or just something that you can buy with a lot of breeders. Then I keep in the back of my head, if I ever want this morph, there's plenty of places where I can buy it. So I would always try and breed towards something that is either not available at all, or just in a few places. Yeah.
Yeah. No. That's great. Yeah, that's great advice actually. All right, let me take a quick sponsor break and oh, am I frozen? I think I'm
Only the
frozen.
screen sounds good.
Oh, okay. Well, whatever. But so 2 weeks ago we had Chris from Dutch or Unlocked Genetics and Peter from Dutch Pythons, and they very kindly offered to give away an Enchi Yellow Belly Hypopide male on the show. Last week we did the draw. There was a winner picked out of the comments, but it looks like it was one of those fake accounts, I guess, because when I checked into it, the account had been created the exact same day that the comment was made, and the person did. Um, is my camera still off?
Yeah, that's still frozen. Sound is back. Was also gone for a few seconds.
Damn it. I don't know. We're going all sorts of issues today. Let me try and turn it off.
Yes, you're back.
Oh, we're back.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Whew. I think I need to turn my fans on again.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know how much of that you got, but so long story short, we're gonna try the giveaway again this on this episode. So bear with me 1 second. Here we go. Right. So first things first. Pappy's Premium Pod is sponsored by ProHerper. Get tests at proherper.com, a company trusted by more than 1,000 breeders all over the world. Yeah, there's not a lot more I can add there, guys. Everything's great over on that side. Any shed that arrives by Wednesday will receive its results by Friday in the same week. All the usual tests that are available are available. Jurgen's working tirelessly to develop more and more tests to make all our lives easier. So check it out, guys. proherper.com. Pappy's Premium Pod is sponsored by ProHerper, and we appreciate them backing the pod. So, on to our comment picker generator thing, where we just put in the link for the video and we start the draw. Ooh, fancy. No sound issues on that side?
For now, it's good.
All right, so looks like we have another winner. Yeah, 07 Barik 10. I will reach out to this person after the see if they claim their prize, I guess. I never know if it's on your side, if it's on my side.
You're back, at least.
It doesn't, but everything will turn on my end, so I never know if it's me or if it's on your side.
Yeah.
How far did we get? Did you see the winner?
Yes. Yeah.
Ah, okay, fair enough. Yeah, so did you participate in this?
No, I did it.
Yeah, me neither. I wasn't allowed.
Yeah, no, it's better to give the chance to. I mean, I breed a lot of snakes, right? Buy
Yeah,
snakes that I want. This is nice for yeah, for someone watching the podcast and having this chance on that giveaway.
yeah, awesome. All right, so yeah, 07 Barik 10. Um, if you're watching, you've won. Keep an eye out for my reply to your message, or your comments, even. So, yeah, let's get back into the flow of things. Um, yeah, before I lose my mind.
We moved over to ball pythons, at least, right?
Yes, we're back with a vengeance.
Yes.
So let's go. In your opinion, obviously, what is the best gene to add to a?
Sorry,
So you
mate.
didn't hear my question. Yeah.
No, I got half of that. Now you're back. Yeah.
I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna shoot someone. Um, best ball python or best gene to add to ball python project right now.
And air Mandarin, without a doubt.
Woo!
Yeah, without a doubt.
Nice, nice. I like that. Are you working on a lot of it?
Yes, I think. Yeah, by next year, I think over half of my collection will be focused towards that. Yeah,
Damn.
yeah. I've like. I mean, I don't hype up jeans almost ever, and I've been at this for almost 20 years. But this has been, in my opinion, the biggest sleeper gene around so far, especially because. I mean, in single form, it's a bit difficult to see. I think that that kind of deters a lot of people from it still. And of course, in the beginning, there was a lot of controversy about what the super looked like. Nowadays, I mean, we're very clear what the super looks like. Jurgen has validated Mandarin test, so there is also no more guessing in these pairings. And I think also the surface has been barely scratched with
Yes.
NR Mandarin. We all know what the super form looks like in Hypo, in Ghost. Um, Other than that, maybe some single combos, but yeah, I'm really excited to see the Super Mandarin. Basically, take Super NR Mandarin Hypo as a base, and then add whatever you want. And I think that there's a lot of possibilities that we've not seen yet. So this is what I'm, yeah, one of the things I'm most excited for.
Nice. Do you want to share a pairing that you have going on right now?
Yeah, sure. It's I'm actually waiting. Um, I think it will probably be next month, the first clutch of 2026 to drop. That's from an Orange Dream Enchi Mandarin het hypo to an Orange Dream Yellow Belly female. So I hope if I get the Super Orange Dream Mandarin, that should be world first, I think, because not much is done with it yet. Even though it's quite a simple combo, but in single form, it's already great. Mandarin and Orange Dream. Um, but yeah, there's a lot more. I think this season I have 10 to 15 pairings with either Mandarin or Super Mandarins in it.
Wow.
Um, Yeah, I was lucky enough to get a Super Mandarin head hypo pair very early in the beginning. I crossed those together. There were six eggs. It was 3.3. So I think I have a total of eight Super Mandarins now. They were all confirmed by Jörg as well. I just want to make sure. I know they were super, but I want to have this, on paper so that you can just show it to other people. They don't have to trust me. They can see the certificate. But it gives a great base, of course, because it doubles your odds in every pairing you do. Everything's Mandarin. I don't have to check.
Yep, exactly. Yep, that's what I want to get to. Whenever I have one female Mandarin, NR Mandarin yellow belly, head
Hmm.
hypo, and
Nice.
yeah, I have been told to test her now that there is a test available.
Hmm.
But you know me, man. I I collected the shed. I put it in a bag. I wrote on the bag the ID of the animal, everything,
Hmm.
and it's just sitting there.
Yeah.
I messaged Jurgen. I said, I have a Mandarin test I need to send to you, and he said, yeah, send it, and it's still there. It's still
Yeah,
there.
I think it's worth it, especially if it's at hypo. That's nice. I think you would. I think it's the base that you would want in Mandarin.
Yep.
Um, and I think also one of the things I noticed is that any heads in a Mandarin or a Super Mandarin animal, they change not only color but sometimes even pattern. And it's not only a matter of how many heads it has, but also which ones.
Yeah, head hypo. You mean?
Yes, so if you have a Mandarin that's het hypo, or also a Super Mandarin het hypo, that will be much more intense than one that's not het hypo. And I know this from clutches where I did the pairing, tested all of them for hypo, and can compare the ones that were proven not to be hypo and the ones that were proven to be het hypo. Same goes for Clown, Desert Ghost, etc. But especially hypo, you can clearly. I would not trust on visuals alone. I mean, just test. It's that's why we have these tests nowadays. But yeah, it definitely helps, even the heterozygous form.
Yeah. Yeah. So my goal is to make because obviously at the time I couldn't afford one, so I bought the Mandarin head hypo, and the plan was to get a male Mandarin hypo that I can make my own supers and then
Yeah.
take it from there. Um, but yeah, so what is a gene that for you was like a must-have, let's say 5 years ago, but you wouldn't really work with it nowadays, if there is such a thing?
Um, Zebra, I think. That was one of the genes that I don't know why, but I had this idea in my head that maybe one day a ball python gene will pop up where you have like a horizontally striped pattern, because this is something that you never see. And then one day I looked. I think it's is it Adam Chelsea? I think from the United States who bred them first.
Mhm.
The zebras. I saw those. I was like, okay, so here it
There you
is.
go.
Let's buy it. And I think at that point they were still, yeah, like 25 or $30,000 for a heterozygous pair without any other genes. So I decided to wait a bit. Yeah, and so far not that many like very exciting combos have come out yet. So nowadays, even though now they're quite affordable, at least especially the heterozygous ones, now I wouldn't buy them anymore. Probably. I mean, maybe if I have some space, extra or left or something, but it wouldn't be like a priority new project to get into. But that was one that 5 years ago when I saw that for the first time, I was like, yes, that's it.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm the same with zebra. I saw it and I was like, not fully convinced. Not fully convinced on it, but yeah, it is what it is. Tell me this: if you could only keep one project for the rest of your life, what would it be?
So one project you mean based on like one goal or one gene as like the central part of it, right?
Yeah, it could be just a goal. It could be like multiple.
I
Um,
think. So there are basically I think in ball python there's a lot of stuff that I like, right? But it can I think you can divide it into three parts. I think lavender albino combos I really like, um, but the two main ones are, yeah, probably both like extremes on either end. I think anything with super NR Mandarin hypo as a base, and on the other end, everything with VPI Xantic Desert Ghost as a base. Um, so if I had to choose between the two, I would probably have to go towards Mandarin. But I think VPI Xantic Desert Ghost, I I have that as a base in a project with Clown, Puzzle, Sunset, like all these separate ones. I want, the Xantic Desert Ghost as a base, and then with Puzzle, Sunset, Clown, these different combos. I would like to see those in like the triple recessive form. If I really had to choose, it would still be the NR Mandarin project.
Yeah, that's right. That's yeah. I was as I was asking the question, I was thinking this is a stupid question. We already know the answer.
Yeah,
Man said next year half of his collection will be in our Mandarin.
yeah.
Wow, that's insane. But very good.
And we have
Um,
some, I think on that end, because it's the that pairing is the first one that I'm waiting for. But I also have, if all things go well and I'm a bit lucky, I have 4 or 5 shots. So 4 or 5 clutches, hopefully 4 or 5 shots at hitting the Super NR Mandarin Hypo DG. So yeah, that would be great to see. But it's 1 in 32 odds, I think. Yeah, on those
okay.
clutches.
Yeah, yeah. But still, if you have 4 or 5 chances, it's still good.
Yeah, you need
Still good. Good.
you need a lot of X, especially with those odds. I mean, there's with the double recessives. I think there's a lot of clutches or a lot of like combinations where I hatched, yeah, close between 30 and 50 animals before I hatched the 1 in 16. I always had quite poor luck on on those. So yeah,
This will be the year then for you to get some luck.
that would redeem a lot of it of like the last
Yeah,
decade at least.
this will be the year. So yeah, what? So is that the one that? Because I want to ask as well. What's the one clutch that you're most looking forward to this season? Will that be it?
Um, let's see. I think trying to think of all the like 30 some pairings that I'm doing. Um, I think visually that's one of the ones. Um, just genetically speaking, I'm also having quite some clutches where I'm working with like either 4 or 5 recessive genes. Hopefully hitting like 3 or 4, and then 1 or 2 more heterozygous in there.
Wow.
Um, yeah, so I think I mean, just visually, definitely that's what I'm looking forward to getting out of the egg. But there will also be clutches that I have to shed test, but that will be like possibly, um, yeah, I think it's what do you call it? Head for like 5 genes for VPI Xantic, Desert Ghost, Sunset, Ultramel, Clown. So these are in there as well. They will hatch as like normals or yellow bellies or stuff like that, pinstripes. But genetically speaking, they will be very valuable.
Yeah. Good luck. That's all I can say. Good luck.
Yeah, I'll need it.
Yeah. Hope the odds on your are on your side as always. But hey, let's see. Tell me, oh, you're bound to have a good one because you've been breathing for so long. One snake room horror story
You mean that like I know of, or that happened to me?
that happened to you. Yeah, something in your collection.
Trying to think. Um,
Do you breed your own rats?
no.
For the snakes? No. Okay.
No, I did it in I think until like 7, 8 years ago. Then I did, but yeah, at some point also, I mean, breeding and cleaning the rats takes a lot of your time. And at some point, I decided like if I buy those, spend that extra time on the collection. Um, but it has its advantages doing it yourself. Yeah, I think like yeah, if it can qualify as a horror story, but I think that there was one time where I was feeding, um, and it was I think it was a small rat that escaped in the reptile room. I think it took me like a week or maybe 2 weeks to finally get it. And yeah, in the meantime, it chewed up all kinds of stuff.
Oh no.
Just yeah. So from that moment on, anything that's in the reptile room is on wheels and usually also high up a little bit off of the floor so that I can at least get under it with something like
Yeah.
that.
Wow. Let's see. I think I froze. No, I'm back. Yeah. When Chris and Peter were on, Peter was actually showing this metal bar that goes on around the bottom of your rack,
Yeah, you
so it
can do that.
stops the rats going under it
Yeah,
when you feed live. I was like, that's actually very very smart.
yeah, yeah. That's one of the things you can do. Completely close it off. Only thing is that especially in high humidity rooms, you don't. At least I don't really want these closed off spaces because it creates more chances for like mold or any or dust or
Mm.
these kind of things. But I think that's one solution. And I don't know if this video is still available, but I think when Justin Kobilka moved to his first new facility, he showed like a video of his new rodent room, and I think that the racks were like 50 centimeters off the floor, that the first row of tubs would start. And he did that specifically so that it was high enough to let the small dog run around to catch any
Ah,
escapee rats. It was also for that specific reason.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I've heard some of the U.S. guys mention that they have like these tiny dogs, like Jack Russells or something, to hunt the rats basically, and that's their
Yeah,
job.
yeah,
If a
exactly.
rat escapes, they can just put the dog and he can
Yeah,
hunt it. Yeah,
yeah,
interesting.
that's how they do it.
Yeah, it's a very very good thing to keep in mind. I have a cat now. I have a dog, but he's a big dog. He's an outside dog. But now we have a cat indoors. So if I ever get the breeding rodents,
Yeah,
I have
good
the
work.
cat. I
Yeah,
just
that's
need
good
to
work.
keep the racks high enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. Okay, so let's go the opposite way then. So in your 20 years breeding, what was the best snake room moment?
Yeah, that's a difficult one. Um, because so many things happen, you know, over like the course of 20 years. Um, but I
There has
think
to
that,
be, yeah, one that stays
yeah,
in your head.
I think it was still because we're talking about the time where there was no genetic wizard, you know, these kind of things, they didn't exist. I think at like 10 years old or something, I was already I really love doing these Punnett squares. So basically, how you would write out genetic odds the manual way, like um, the way genes work, like it was once described by Mendel with like the P's and all the different colors, etc.
Yeah, yeah.
So the capitals and the small letters. I was already doing that by the age of 10 or something.
Wow.
And I remember, I mean, back then, these are times where even like a heterozygous piebald would cost thousands and thousands of euros or dollars if you could get them. And I remember going. as a 10-year-old, right, I had these papers where I wrote out like, this is a 1 in 4 chance, a 1 in 16 chance, and I brought it to my parents to show them like, this is what I need. I need to buy these animals. Of course, no parent's gonna give a 10-year-old that kind of cash spent on snakes, right?
Snakes.
Yeah, so that make perfect sense. But I think my best moment was when I was finally at the point where I bred enough animals that I was able to buy a pair of heterozygous ball pythons. The only thing is I cannot remember the gene anymore. I don't know whether it was albino or piebald or clown, but it was one of these very first ones. So you have two wild type animals, both heterozygous for this gene. You have a 1 in 4 shot, and you actually hatch this homozygous animal for the first time. I mean, even after that, you hatch like the double visuals and like the craziest incomplete dominant combos in there. But
Yeah,
first time that you actually,
yeah,
you buy these heterozygous, you take these 1 or 2 or 3 years to raise them up. You have 1 in 4 shots, 5, 6 clutch, 5, 6 egg clutch, and then hitting it. Yeah, I think that's
yeah.
still the first time that happens is the you can't stop.
Especially back then when there's so many people selling like fake heads and stuff like that. It was a big risk.
There was no way to know. Yeah,
Yeah, man. Yeah,
yeah,
that's
that happened
awesome.
a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think
Um,
also, I mean, back then,
how old were you at that time?
at that time, when I hatched the first,
Yeah,
first,
your first visual.
um, yeah, I was still in high school. I don't know, maybe 16 or something.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah,
sorry, continue.
I think it was like because I mean, I think Jörg already touched on this when he was on your podcast, right? That I mean, now we all know Justin Kobielka and for example Billy Rose, etc. from Mutation Creation, but there was a whole generation of like these really legendary breeders before that. I mean, Ralph Davis back then
Yeah,
was really the king of ball pythons. That was amazing the stuff that he was doing. Um, Same as Jurgen, I'm still wondering what happened to the guy. He decided to do other other stuff, and just fishing videos appeared on his YouTube
Ralph
feed.
Davis.
Yeah,
I heard he's still breathing.
yeah.
If you go to Leviathan's YouTube, you know Leviathan snakes, or
It does ring a bell, but not 100%.
they're the ones going crazy with the YouTube production, like really
Ah,
high quality stuff. But they now have like a mini like podcast series type of thing,
mhm.
where they release an episode every week. And the last one I watched, they were actually talking about this exact same thing, with the old breeders that the new generation doesn't know who they were, the legends, because the legends now is Justin and all those. We don't know the story of the previous legends, and
Yeah.
they were talking about that. And it's Will from RCI, I think it was Will that said that they think that he's still breeding, Ralph Davis.
Ah, okay. Yeah, because back then, I mean, you can still. It's funny to do this because it gives you basically like this glance back in time. I think on his website he still has the birthing records from
Yeah,
1998,
yeah,
2001,
yeah.
etc.
You can still see it. Yeah,
Yeah, and I mean back then, these were really pairings of pairing 100% head clown to 50% possible head clown, right? It's you can imagine that nowadays, but
yeah, definitely.
yeah, I think you've seen these days. So it's a completely different it's a completely different world and a completely different game right now. Um, People think it's harder in that sense, but there's also a lot more room to make something unique. I mean, back
Yeah,
then there wasn't that much around, so all you could do was try to breed the 1 or 2 genes around and go from there. And now, I mean, you can. There's always a route that other people don't take.
yeah. There's like you mentioned world's first earlier, and there's world's firsts nowadays, every day almost.
Yeah,
Every day. But yeah, those guys on that on Leviathan's channel, they were actually talking about this as well, because there's world firsts, like real good stuff, and then there's world firsts that's just like
yeah,
stuff that nobody cares about. But
exactly.
yeah,
It's technically a world first, but it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody would really go for that. Stuck for a bit. Yes, you're back.
Oh, am I back?
Yeah.
Ah, damn it. So sorry, guys. I don't know what's going on today. I mean, the network's just terrible. Um, but anyway, I was about to ask you for.
Yes, we're back.
God damn it. Anyway, I have to laugh, otherwise I'll start crying because
Yeah.
this is. Oh man, this is just horrendous. I was gonna ask for your best snake room pro tip.
That snake room pro tip. Um, oh, that's a good question. Um,
It's like a staple of this podcast.
yeah. Um, Anyway, you can specify that more to, like, I don't know, a subject in the snake room or something. Might make it
Yeah,
easier.
so I mean, best like obviously in your opinion, that's like something that you can't live without in your snake room. Like some people mention lights for photos. We've had
Um,
people mention like water hose. Someone mentioned a few people mentioned like airflow, good airflow system. You know,
yes.
stuff like that.
Um, yeah, I think I mean all of the above, of course, huh? But to add mine, um, so I think it depends a bit, right? But since I have a daytime job as well, so I'm not always at the place where my animals are as well, and I do like to leave with some sense of security. Um, so I like the control, the fact that I can check different things. So I would say the combination of both thermostats and thermometers with like a Wi-Fi connection, but also with a log. Um, so for me, for example, I can check back also in my incubators the temperatures for every 15 minutes for as long as these thermometers have been running. They cost, say, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 euros each, but they will tell me exactly what happened during that time. Also, the thermostats they're on the Wi-Fi as well, so that you can actually check even if you're away. Um, I think in the incubators, I even have like a backup set of thermostats, so the incubators can never overheat. If one thermostat blows, the other one will take over. It's like a built-in system.
Chris, yeah, Chris
Yeah,
mentioned that last week. In
yeah,
his incubators, he's got a thermostat connected to another thermostat.
exactly.
It's like, wow.
Yeah, I think he might have bought those from the same person I did. It's a German company actually that built them, and I mean German engineering. It's always like very very high quality. So these as well. So that's like an extra safety layer. Um, but I would say that in general, so that
Yeah.
your temperatures. Because what I was gonna say, like snake room horror stories. Apart, I never experienced this because I have all these double checks, etc. But the most devastating things that happen to people's animals and people's collections were either like a fire. Yeah, then of course it's all devastated. But also either thermostats going haywire, heating those racks up to, yeah, who knows which temperatures, and animals actually dying of overheating, or thermostats falling off. And as long as your facility is within the building that's heated, that's not so much a problem. But if it's in a separate building, which quite a lot of people have, and it's winter in northern Europe or northwest Europe, then you can have a problem. So I would, as a pro tip, keep your like your electrical equipment, keep it on some kind of connection. That even when you're not at home, you can see what's going on. You will get a notification if something's wrong. Um, for me, that's key. I wouldn't do without that anymore.
Yeah. That's a really good tip actually. And it's funny you asked that because I'll talk to you after the show about it because I'm actually going to buy some of those thermostats for the incubator that I can keep an eye on when I'm not here.
Yeah,
So awesome, awesome stuff. Listen, I try to keep it a little bit shorter than the usual podcasts that we watch in the States that go for 2 and 3 hours. I like to keep mine at about an hour or so. We're already going over that, but to get things wrapped up, I'm going to ask you to nominate the next person to come on the show.
it's a good question, huh?
And
Uh,
it has to be someone from Europe, not
yeah,
States.
yeah. So I'm trying to think because, of course, I've gotten to know a lot of people over those past 2 decades. I mean, new people who've bought their first snake from me or from someone else like half a year ago. Also, people that have been in there a long time. So I think it might be interesting to try and think of some names of people that have been in there for decades, but that maybe are not that known outside of Europe or even within Europe. I mean, me myself, I've been breeding ball pythons for 20 years, but I'm not like one of the bigger names in the game, even in Europe. We have quite some of those people who actually have really nice genetics, are doing completely out of the box projects and genetic combinations, but are not that well known. Um, let's see. I think
It's never easy when you're not prepared.
no, but I can think of one. I so yeah, of course I was not prepared, so I didn't like ask them or but
Oh no,
uh,
it's fine. This
just
what happens is I will clip this section of the show,
mhm.
and when I contact the person, I'll send it, and I'll be like, "Boom,
Yeah.
you've been served."
I think so. In the Netherlands, you have HR Reptiles.
Yes, good
It's
one.
run by Jason and Björn. They've been breeding ball pythons for longer than I have, probably. So they've seen everything from like the very early days to all the way up until now, and they're still breeding at a very high level with, of course, incredibly complex genetics.
Yep.
For example, to give you an example of that out of the box pairing that they did. So they're actually doing, I think their first clutch of that combination just dropped this week or last week. It was triple head sunset albino bite. Ah, wait, you're back. I can see you, but I can't hear you. Ah, okay.
I'm here.
Yeah. So I think it was this week. They had a first clutch of triple head sunset albino pied here times the same albino sunset pied.
Okay.
And I think when they first posted one of these pairings a couple of years ago, I thought like sunset and albino. I don't know what it looks like. Maybe it's been produced nowadays, but yeah, the Ultramel has, and that's incredible. So it's an awesome way of thinking. It's a simple combo, but no
Yeah,
one had
definitely.
thought about that a couple years ago. So I think if you can get either, I don't know, Jason or Björn, but from HR Reptiles, I think they have a lot of interesting things to tell you, with also decades of experience.
Okay. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, and they have not been mentioned by anyone yet, so
Yeah,
yeah,
perfect.
this will be cool. This will be cool. Awesome, man. Um, yeah, I haven't got anything else on my list. I mean, I've tons of stuff on my list, but we haven't really got that much time.
No,
We'll maybe do another episode sometime, right?
sure. You can.
Um,
We can revisit. I don't know. I mean, you have other guests on the list as well, and it's a one time per week. But I don't know, later in the season, when more clutches have hatched, or next year, or in a few years,
yeah.
whenever you need a spot to fill on the podcast, I'll be happy to come back.
No, it's not gonna be like that. It's you're gonna have your place saved and reserved. But
Thanks.
listen, do you have anything else that you want to bring up?
No, I think
Anything you want to say?
yeah, I think I do want to. You have him as a sponsor, right? So that's great. During this podcast, I already mentioned what I think are benefits of Jurgen. I do not get sponsored or paid or discounts or anything for this, but just for me as a breeder who tries to breed complex genetics with a limited amount of space, this is really yeah, this really changes everything in a good way. And I think, as you mentioned in the beginning of your podcast. I think you're frozen again. Still frozen.
Hello.
Think. Yes.
Hey,
Hey.
man, look, this is unbelievable today.
Is the live still on? Oh yeah.
Yeah. Um, let me double check.
Because with me it still says live, so maybe I'm live alone. I don't know.
Yeah, it's still there. I think people can hear me anywhere in the background.
Ah, Okay.
Do you want to continue what you were saying when you were talking about Jurgen?
Yeah. So you and both podcasts can hear it, right? I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, with Jurgen, he's your sponsor. I think is the best sponsor you can have on like ball pythons. This is really game changer for like efficient breeding. And to follow up on that, also, so in 20 years, you're the first podcast, interview, video, anything that I've done. And the reason for that is exactly for the goal that you mentioned. I think in Europe there's so much knowledge, so much nice animals, so much genetics that's scattered around and not really, I mean, maybe being shared, but at least not being connected. And I think we can do really a lot there. You can just, I mean, if you put, I can name, for example, 5 people, put them on a table, and you have a century of breeding ball pythons experience there. And I think your podcast is a very nice way of getting this knowledge out there, sharing it. So keep it up. I think it's great.
Man. I appreciate it. And you're completely right. I saw when I came in, obviously, I don't have 20 years experience in this, I wish. But when I came in, I saw a lot of this being done in the States. But in Europe, there was none of it. There's basically nothing. So, you know, and yeah, I decided to go forward with it. Like you say, we have so much stuff to talk about. I mean, we didn't even get into the Luna project or anything.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's endless, and we could talk. I mean, no wonder those guys in the States have podcasts of 3 hours and stuff. But,
Yeah.
Yeah, we could go on forever. But yeah, no, I like I said, I appreciate you coming on and taking the time and actually wanting to do this, because I'm still getting some resistance from a lot of people about coming on the podcast and showing their face and stuff like that. So yeah, the goal is really to try and change that mindset where people just hide behind their animals, and we want people to come forward and show their face and share what they have to share, basically.
Yeah, I think it's great.
But anyway, I don't know what's going on with this stream. It looks like it got stuck now because I can't even go back in.
Should I just log out and then or wait and see if you can get back in?
I think we will do that. Yeah, I was hoping I could go back in because it lets me. See, that's the weird thing. It lets me end it. I have the option to finish it, but I don't have the option to see or do anything. And my internet is working because I'm on YouTube now. So it's not. It's definitely not my internet now. And I'm talking to you online.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know what I can do here. There isn't even an option to pause. But anyway, I think people can hear me in the background anyway. So yeah, I'm just gonna end it on this side.
Sounds good.
I'll give my usual message to the people, and like I said, a big thanks to you for coming on and sharing so much knowledge and information with us. And yeah, anybody want, even with all these issues on the other side, even with all the problems, if you've enjoyed this, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share this with another breeder or keeper, and you know what we're doing, guys. We're building this community within Europe together, and every bit of sports helps us keep the passion alive. And as per usual, you can find my work at Pappy's Premium Pythons on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok. Check out the link in the description of the YouTube video, you'll have all the links for Teun's social media as well, Morph Market store, Facebook, and Instagram, website. He's got a website as well, so make sure you check that out as well. And yeah, guys, until the next time, stay focused on the passion, keep the projects